Let's talk about Teams. So in this session, we're going to talk about the new authentication way.
Yeah. AOSP.
AOSP.
Yeah. Seriously, I don't know what it is. But,
well, you can say the pronouncement. So
yeah, Android Open Source Project.
Exactly. And what is that?
Yeah.
Remember we talked about MDEP before?
Yeah, I have a kind of slight knowledge about what it is, but why and so on. Something about Microsoft is moving something from Intune, right?
Yeah, well...
Well, it's more like that Google deprecated the way that they do it.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is building their own authentication way. So it's also called non-Google management service. That's only internal.
And the fun thing is, or not the fun thing is that one is what people seeing is Android as a phone, and then we have like the Samsung skin on top of it and so on. That's actually the AOSP that put on top of it.
Okay.
Like we should go down. So that's what we are building on top of it. And as Lars is saying, I think the primary key here is that's authentication.
Yeah, but just one question, because it's gonna hit all Android products, right?
Yeah.
It's not only meeting rooms, it will be...
No, it will be everything.
Yeah. AOSP are like all the different manufacturers, but from all our Teams devices, it's very important because, as you were saying, Google deprecated the device administrator, which was the old way of doing with company portal and so on. We were into Intune and all was nice and fancy, and that was the way that Google have controlled Android devices historically. Yeah. But here at the end of the year, that's done. Google has end of life it.
So the 31st of December, it's gonna end?
All old Android devices dies.
Yeah.
No.
So at least that is the statement right now from Microsoft. I mean, previously it was in September. We are past that. Yeah. So they moved it. So now it's called end of the year.
Yeah.
That might change as well, but that's how it is right now.
Because, I mean, right now some of the functionality is not GA. Some of it are private previews and tab programs and so on. So it's not something that out now. And of course, all the businesses need some time because this is, in paper, it's not a big change. We are just authenticating from one way to another one. I mean, that sounds kind
but
of
you
easy.
need to take all the hardware you need to make a change.
There are a lot of steps in it because, I mean, a new way of authenticate, that means that we need to have some new components on devices. But those components need to be configured in your backend for validating in Intunes and so on. So there are some steps that you need to do. You need to make your Intunes ready, so when you upload that firmware to the device, then it will be able to register. Else you will just cannot sign in, and that's a bad day to get to work on.
Imagine having 100 systems not
signing in. Just saying.
I think from my point, the most important thing is that everyone that works in the IT and supporting Android devices, could it be a phone or could it be a Teams rooms on Android, they need to be aware of this. It's not something that you need to go and do right now because the token on the process is only 90 days. I've heard that the token will be renewed automatically, but I also heard from some that it didn't renew. But it's definitely something that you need to take care of. Otherwise, all Android-based devices will sign out.
But at the end of the year, you're stating that all IT departments should have holiday then, so they will just do like this and not...
And the 1st of January is just the phone.
That's not IT department anymore. No.
But you need to make a plan, and it's not something that you need to rush. You need to, of course, test it and so on. Yeah. And the good thing is that it's not a forced firmware update in the beginning, because a lot of manufacturers are rolling out already now software that supports it.
Yeah.
And it's not like by mistake if you go into Teams app and say, hey, update this firmware and everybody, then you have a problem. There are multiple firmware at the moment, so it needs to do something about it, or at least it's either else, and it's not automatically done something that you say, okay, this device, we are trying to do that, so you can test it.
Yeah, and the most important thing is to keep the devices signed in.
Yeah.
So Microsoft promises that's going to work. The next thing is that if I had a deployment with like several hundreds of devices, then I wouldn't dare to do it all at once.
Come on.
I'd take two.
But the good thing is that since it's done on the software side, then you can actually control when the devices will change their authentication way. So when you do the testing, then you can move a few devices.
One room test to see it works.
And in the Intune poll, you can see, are this Android device manager or are this AOSP? So that's quite important to understand and do it in a progress.
Yeah. And remember that different devices. We both have the Android for the bar, the controller that normally goes together, but we also have the scheduling panel. And that works standalone, that scheduling panel.
Yeah. So, and the phones as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But when will this be ready?
That depends. Yeah, soon. Coming soon.
Yeah, coming
so
soon.
it still has this.
It's still in private preview. It's
Yeah.
still on tap and so different. And from different manufacturers are saying we are ready. Other ones are we are in progress. We are testing, and some saying we don't know. From what I've heard, of course, all have to do it, but some of them I haven't heard back from when I'm trying to. Okay, what's the status of this new AOSP authentication?
Okay.
But so all the major ones are, of course, on top of it.
Yeah,
it's not a news, but we have known that for I don't know at least half a year.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, I almost would say 1 year, but it's quite some time that we have known it, and there have been some communication around it, and finally Microsoft also updated, so it doesn't say September. No. Now it actually say end of year.
And on Learn we can see guides and so on how it's gonna be, and so
so it's quite important that we are aware of it, and I think it's quite important that you plan for it and make sure that the manufacturer you have, they are ready to do it and when they're gonna do it. But otherwise they will get signed out, and that's not fun, I think.
Exactly.
Nope. Not at all. Are there any rules you need to set up? Anything about it? Because I could imagine that, as you're stating, something is gonna move from Google's side. You're probably gonna do something else.
There's some configuration in Tune.
You need to create a new profile and a new configuration
and you need to,
on
of course, clean up the other one and make sure you don't have any legacy standing when you do the change and so on. But there are a lot of stuff. A lot of the compliance part you can take, but authentication part is been changed.
How is is this something that the partners is aware of Microsoft?
Oh, that's a difficult one because I mean,
very few.
One would guess that everybody should be aware of it and keep on top of everything that's going on with Microsoft. There might be one or two that's not on top of it and so on. And again, that's why we're doing what we're doing, trying to inform people. And every time I speak, and especially if I'm talking to AV people, I'm saying, hey, remember this is coming, and if you need some help, let me know. Because it is one of those that has a fatal end if you don't do anything.
Exactly.
There will be, of course, a time, and you don't have to be the first one, but you need to be aware what's going on. But again, when the first one dies, I guess it will go out and people will learn it fast. But we don't want the customer to end in a situation like that.
No, exactly. But I think, stay on top of it. AOSP, go and search for it on Google or Bing or whatever browser you use. Then you will get some information about the new way of authenticating, so that's quite important. End of the year, that is the deadline right now. Let's see if that changed, but I think they're trying to keep it. On the other hand, the Untap program, a lot of doing beta testing.
They don't have that many months to get it from GA to testing and so on. So maybe there'll be an extension of it. We'll see.
Yeah. And with that said, this was Let's Talk About Team. Thanks so much for watching.